Sarra Sounds Off is brought to you by Roll Up Awnings.
Hey everyone, we're going to change it up a little bit. I brought in some of the heavy hitters from the high school staff. We're going to start with our leadoff hitter, Carissa Kelman. She's going to talk about wrestling. She's going to do cheerleading. We're going to talk about all the great championship runs we had during the winter sports season. Carissa, welcome aboard.
I'm excited, Greg. So cheerleading, we had a Suffolk sweep. All 4 of the championships went to Suffolk teams, and I think
unlike football,
well, right?
All 4 championships went to Nassau.
But good for cheerleading, and it was great for Shoreham-Wading River, who actually won their first state championship and county championship ever. And it was great because they defeated Seaford, who was a 2-time state championship, perennial championship, who they lost to prior in the county's last time. So
you've had the opportunity to go upstate quite a few times and see the cheerleading event. It's packed. It has to be one of the most followed sport in all of Long Island.
It is, yes, it is. There's so many great teams. Rocky Point also won their first championship since 2019. Sachem East and Ward Melville won 2 back-to-back championships this year, so there was a lot of great winners.
Who was the co-ed champ?
The co-ed champ was Ward Melville, so they added their co-ed stunter 2 years ago, Ian Lycavoli, and he's added so many stunts to them where he now performs in every single stunt group, which is huge and not seen on Long Island.
I love it. And your versatility takes you from the cheerleading mat to a different kind of mat for girls wrestling. And we had 2 state champions in girls wrestling. Tell us about both of them.
It was so exciting at the first ever state girls wrestling championship. Haley Gonzalez was a shocker. I mean, she won a national championship in the summer, but she came around. She was facing Lily Blank of West Hampton, down 9-0. If she gave up 1 more point, she would have lost by technical fall. But instead, she pins Lily Blank with 15 seconds left to be the champion.
So she was representing Hicksville?
She was.
And that was her first state title?
Her first state title ever.
So take us through the state championships for girls wrestling, the first official one. What was that like?
It was so exciting. The atmosphere was just as exciting as the boys wrestling championship. The boys came on to cheer the girls teams on. It was so exciting. There was a lot of cheer and there were a lot of visitors too. I think it was a long time coming for them.
I think you would agree that of the sports on Long Island that are blossoming, it's cheerleading, girls wrestling, and flag football.
Yes. It's all of them, and it's all for the girls, and I love it because they're all so excited when we go and we talk to them. How excited are they to talk to us and to just be there to play?
Great job as a leadoff hitter. We're going to bounce from you to Matt Lindsay. Let's see if he can keep the pace. Joining us now on Sarra Sounds Off is Matt Lindsay. And Matt, we've spent the last couple of years up at the MVP Arena in Albany watching all the great state wrestling. And the journey continues for Dunia Cibomano Rodriguez. He wins his 2nd state title in grand fashion. He beats Cooper Murley in the final in what was one of the greatest bouts that I've ever seen. But I know that we both agree that one of the greatest triumphs was Gavin Mangano of Shoreham-Wading River. Broke his ankle in the first period of the finals and then comes back to win a state title. Take us through it.
Yeah, Gavin Mangano, he's been an unstoppable wrestler for the last 3 years, really. This year, he finished 50-0 going into the state tournament. I mean, he was, an unbeatable. Everyone knew he was the unquestioned favorite. He gets to the final match, like you said, breaks his ankle early on.
When you look at him, and he's in a wheelchair for the most outstanding wrestler award, if you will, champion of champions, he was all of that. Whether he got the award or not, he was our champion of champions and our most outstanding wrestler. But there was so many great storylines because we had 10 state champions. Who else really it stuck out to you that they had a great ride to the finals?
To me, Tommy Aiello of Glenn. 2 years ago, he was the 102-pound state champion in Division II. Last year, he took 4th place, lost in the semifinals. This year, he comes back. You're not sure what you're going to get from him. He lost a couple matches early in the year. He said last year the pressure was getting to him. This year, that wasn't the case, and you saw it in the state tournament. When he gets to the finals, he's down 4-0 in the 3rd period, and it didn't matter. He came back, forced overtime, won in sudden victory like Dunia did, and now he's Glenn's first ever 2-time state champion.
From a great program. So we'll take it a step further. When I look at it, did you ever think John Tutku could win a state championship for Massapequa? He was the surprise of the tournament, and he's an 8th grader. He's going to be here for how long? I mean, people argue with me, no, he's in 9th grade, he's in 10th grade. No, he's an 8th grader. It's pretty impressive. We had said earlier in the year on the show that we had hoped Grayson Meek and Devin Downs of Plain Edge and Cold Spring Harbor, that they would go in different weight classes because they would both be state champions. Did you agree with that assessment, that they should split up?
I mean, it would have been awesome if they were in the same weight class, just to see what would have happened there. They're great friends. I saw them before the finals, warming up with each other, and they practice with each other all the time. For them, I mean, it makes sense for them to split up, get two, each of them get another state championship. It definitely would have been cool to see them wrestle each other, but it was cool to see them both dominate their weight classes.
You talk about domination, you talked about Gavin Mangano being 50-0, but what about Jason Quake of Brentwood, another undefeated wrestler who just dominated everybody, and so did Cam Howard of Bellport, two another great wrestlers.
Yeah, one's a senior in Quake, one's a freshman in Howard. Quake going out the way he should with his first state championship. He also won his first Eastern States championship early in the year. And Cameron Howard, I mean, he's going to be unbelievable for the next 3 years.
Well, with our resident expert, Andy Slauson, not able to make the trip, you've certainly done a phenomenal job filling in and taking care of it. I don't know that Andy can get back in the starting lineup anymore for wrestling. I think you're it, right?
Sure hope so.
Joining us now, our three-hitter, Ben Dixon. This is our power hitter right here. Boys basketball season had a lot of great runs, but we're going to start with St. Anthony's winning the Catholic League State Championship. Tell us about Salagano's group.
Yeah, Salagano did a great job this year. First state title in 20 years. Also won that CHSAA title, beating St. Dom's. Great group that he had, kind of overcame adversity. Coming back against St. John's in the championship game of the state title, same thing they did in the regular season against him. Bunch of great players, Kevin Moore, James Taylor, Connor Maddox among them. Great season for Salagano and company.
So you had the opportunity to follow Long Island Lutheran, one of the powerhouse teams in the entire country, right here on Long Island from Brookville. How'd they do? How'd they finish up?
Yeah, John Buck and co. keep making history. Great year for them. They won the Throne National title in New Jersey a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, they lost in the quarterfinals of the Chipotle Nationals. But another great season. #1 in Max Preps for the first time ever. Finished top 5 nationally in the ESPN rankings for the 3rd year in a row. The Mingo brothers, Kai and Anthony, great group of guys they got over there.
And our all Long Island team will be dominated by Crusaders once again.
They deserve it, though. They deserve it. I mean,
do.
you look at what they've done. Caden Mingo, 4-year varsity player right from Farmingdale. Same with his little brother Dylan and Nigel James from Huntington as well.
We talked earlier about other teams that had historic seasons. Port Washington, Mount Sinai, Baldwin. Your thoughts on those teams, your thoughts, what did you think of those 3 programs?
Port Washington, great season. Sean Dooley's been doing it for a long time, but getting the first Nassau County title since 1947, the first Long Island title since 1946. Unfortunately, fell short there in the state title, but an historic season for Dooley and company there in Port Washington. Mount Sinai, first county and first Long Island championship ever. They lost in the state final like Port Washington did, but Coach Ryan McNeely, Dom Pinzello, great job by then. And then Baldwin, 5 Nassau counties in a row. Darius Burton just keeps doing it. Him and Chase Timberlake, great run there for them.
Baldwin is like a basketball mill, boys and girls. Darius Burton with the boys and Tom Catapano with the girls. But, we'll get to the girls later with Jolie. Don't steal her thunder. I know you 3 hitters like to get all the RBIs.
I respect the cleanup hitters, too.
All right. Ben Dixon, great job.
Thanks.
Now we go to our cleanup hitter with girls basketball, Jolie Katzen. And Jolie, another big year for Baldwin. They won the state title again. The magic of Tom Catapano, who is one of our decades coaches. This guy's been doing wonders with the Baldwin program. Tell us a little bit about Baldwin.
Yeah, I mean, they won their 3rd ever state championship up in Troy this year, and they were also in a deficit going into the 4th quarter, and it was Peyton Doolin that broke that tie and was able to, get them over that hump and get the win.
And you guys recognized Doolin as Newsday's Player of the Year?
Yes. It was a very hard decision. Considering, like national teams like Lou High and St. Mary's brought in talented players from on and off Long Island. The talent pool was larger than ever this year, honestly. So
no doubt.
It really we took a look at it and we were like, who is an overall player that really deserves it? And, Doolin just has all those it factors. She was a huge key to Baldwin State Championship run. She was typically the lead scorer, but even on those days where her shots weren't falling, she had just as much of an impact with her assists and also her defense. Their defense, their press was even able to, stun Lou High. And Doolin also scored 24 points against Lou High, so, she's just an overall player, and that's really what we look for when we're looking for a player.
A lot of determining factors, great choice. I was happy with it, but 2 great stories, 2 great runs. Brentwood and Cold Spring Harbor, I know that you love talking about both of those schools.
I mean, Brentwood, what incredible growth. Just 2 years ago, get this, they only won 2 games the entire season, 2 years ago. Now they completely flipped it around and they went 12-3 overall and were undefeated in the league, and it's just incredible to see that growth just 2 years later.
Well, that all starts in the feeder programs and people believing in the program. That starts with the coach, and they've done a great job there. And Cold Spring Harbor, what a great story.
What a special run that was. I mean, it really started at the Long Island Championship. They had over a 30-point lead over Babylon to get them to their first Long Island Championship since 2006. Then at the state semifinals, they had another 30-point win. And then when they got to the state final, I mean, what a game that was. They were trailing by 17 points at one point. They were able to bring it to a 10-point deficit going into the fourth quarter. And Ryan Reynolds, man, what a special player she is. Not only is she an incredible lacrosse player, but she really lit that spark for Cold Spring Harbor, and they were able to get the win in the final seconds, too.
Great storylines all the way across girls basketball this season. You had the opportunity to see a lot of those games. I know you were excited about it, being a former basketball player. Great job. You really did a great job this year. That'll do it for this week. Special thanks to Carissa, Ben, Matt, and Jolie. What a great job you guys did. It wasn't Sarra sounding off, it was the staff sounding off. Check out our All Long Island teams. They come out this week at a special Newsday Live with Amityville's AJ Price. I'm Gregg Sarra. We're sounding off.